Hey everyone, it's Reed, and you're watching MOI. Today, we're going to talk about something really interesting. EMP. Yeah, wonderful thing that everyone loves to bring up, right? Well, this is actually a direct response to Steve over Corsair Trainers. He's been making a tabletop discussion about EMP, and in part 3, he had a question about generators. And I'll put a link up to here, so go check it out. But also, do check out parts 1 and 2, otherwise you're going to go, what's he talking about? Check those out if you haven't seen them. But otherwise, this one is specifically to part 3. Now, I'm going to do a very deep dive about EMP, really cover it in some serious depth. The only problem is, EMP is a complicated subject. The other thing is, in the preparedness, survival communities and all that, EMP is like the crazy boogeyman out there. Everyone's got these crazy ideas of what it can do. Transmute lead into gold. Turn Kool-Aid into Jell-O. And then turn wives looking back at the cities into pillars of salt. Just don't know what this thing can do. And that's the problem. There's all sorts of wild theories out there. Now, since I come from an electrical engineering, computer engineering background, I actually have a bit more science I can bring to the bear on this one. Now, I've had to engage with some other physicists and others like that to really beef up the science, and I think I got a really good handle on this. Plus, I've been very obsessive about EMPs, learning about them, and all sorts of stuff like that. Because honestly, EMP is one of the top nightmares I have of worst case events. Because it's bad. It's really bad. But we'll be going into that in my series. The only problem, though, is so I got this all figured out in my head and all this other stuff. And I've got to take all these complicated concepts and distill it down into something and make it presentable with my crazy visual age, right? Yes, that's why I'm working on being able to bring forth real visual effects so we can have a really nice presentation. I mean, this is what's supposed to be back here. Eventually, it's supposed to be a green screen and some other stuff, and we can bring forth visual effects to really answer this. But that's for a later time. Today, let's take a look at answering Steve's question. Now, what the heck was Steve's question? Well, Steve asked, can a regular generator be damaged by a nuclear EMP event? Well, the answer to that, yes. Yes, it can. Now, let me pick up this heavy thing and explain it. Okay, we got this old wirings from an electric motor. Okay, yes, it's old. It's been kind of neglected, sitting out in the back of the shed and stuff, and, rats have probably chewed on it. Okay, when things break and stuff like that, I take them apart. I work on refurbishing and fixing them. And a lot of times I have success. Sometimes they get broken worse. Wasn't a success. But we can use it as a visual aid today. Now, take a look at these wires here. We'll zoom in. We'll bring this up real close for everyone to look at. Now, these wires that make up these wrappings, okay, these windings that wrap around to get the motors to generate their electric fields and all that, well, these wires use very thin insulation. See, it's actually like a paint, like a resin or a coating, and there's a word for it. I just can't remember it at the moment. It'll come to me later, I'm sure. Now, that's what provides the insulation. Otherwise, if there are bare copper wires wound around, something like that, it doesn't work. It just shorts out. But, so you have this EMP, nuclear EMP device set off. All the gamma rays shoot out in violent force from the device, strip all these electrons off, and send them spiraling down to Earth. This is out, and it collects a bunch of electrons. And what happens? Burns right through the insulation. Your coil is now useless. This thing don't work anymore. Gone. Kaput. Well, let me set this down. And it's very interesting. That is the big issue. Now, we actually have direct, hard evidence of this. See, the Soviets, they were real happy to test things at crazy ways, right? Now, don't get me wrong. The U.S. were just about as insane in the arms race, and we were setting nukes off like wildfire back then. Crazy times. Although I kind of wish I could have seen one. But anyways, and they actually said, let's set off some nukes above Kazakhstan. Oh, wow. And they did it at different altitudes, different yields, and all sorts of stuff. And they learned something really interesting. They learned that devices they wouldn't have thought susceptible to EMP were. And what happened is, as they described it, is the energy will burst through at the weak point. Well, the weak point was the insulation. It literally burned through and destroyed the coil. Bad times, right? Now, what's one of those common things? You hear all sorts of things on these prepper communities, and you see these people say, yeah, I've got this EMP-proof vehicle. Oh, really? Really? Do you? Really? Really? What makes it EMP proof? Well, you see, it doesn't have any electronics. I'm totally set, man. I am perfectly safe from any EMP device. Well, one in the car, or the truck, or the diesel engine, or the tractor also has coils. Anyone? Anyone? Well, what do you think out there might have a winding of a motor and a coil that uses electricity? Or provides electricity? Mm-hmm. Yeah, alternators, generators, right? Just like what Steve was asking. And what else? What else? Starter motors. So unless you can get a crank handle on the front of the thing and start it like the old timers did, that's gonna be hard. And there's something else. There's something else in there, right? Right? Relays. Yeah, most of those mechanical relays, they have a coil in them to generate the electromagnetic force needed to move the relay and engage it. Same with like the solenoid switches. So if you think about it, the energy could impact below those coils, and then your EMP-proof vehicle ain't going anywhere. All right, this is a huge myth I see all the time in the prepping community, and it just blows my mind. They're like, you don't know what you're talking about. Did you actually go read the references I pointed you to? Did you bother? I don't believe that. Okay, I just can't help you anymore. So, if you are trying to be protected against EMP and you have one of these older vehicles, what do? Buy the parts that have these coils in them, put them in a Faraday cage, so if something like that happens, you can just swap the parts out. It's really not that hard. I mean, that would be a perfect strategy. You could even put the Faraday cage in your car, in your truck, so they're always with you. So if you're at work, you just need a toolkit and stuff like that, swap out the starter, swap out the solenoid, swap out your relays, and swap out your alternator. Yeah, you're going to be in the parking lot for a while. Yep. Yeah, particularly on some of those cars, oh my gosh, I'd take a truck any day, especially the older trucks. There was a lot more room to work on. Those cars, once they went front wheel drive, there's so much blood. There are cars running around that have my blood in them from trying to fix them, I tell you. Well, anyways, I hope this provides some information, get you thinking, and get you thinking that, maybe what I've heard from people isn't entirely true. Now, I'll put some references. You can go read the website. I'm still hunting for some of the first source copies of some of the presentations done by the Soviet generals when they came here in the 90s and talked about all this. Still hunting down some of that. I've only got pieces here and there. And it's kind of hard to get a hold of. It's like, people are secretive sometimes. But there's a website that has a lot of these details reposted and all that, and it's very informative. So if you want to read about some of this stuff and actually get surprised, go check it out. The description. Click the thing and go look at it. Now, I do hope you liked this video. Hopefully it was enlightening or made you worry a bit. Yeah, I worry about EMPs myself. I mean, it is one of the top worst case scenarios in my list of disasters I don't want to face. Really is an ugly, ugly problem. But take care, everyone, and keep putting stuff away. This is Reed, out for now. Hey, everyone, it's Reed here with the